Lesson 2, Lessons from a Hurricane, Convoy Tactics. I am the Bear of BearIndependent.com. We also clearly do the YouTube things as well as the Patreon things, and we do the disaster relief things, and that's where you're getting these lessons from. These are lessons that we learned on our most recent deployment, 72 hours to Panama City, Florida, in response to Hurricane Michael. We had 60 plus people this time. It was tremendous, believe me. Everybody tells me just how bigly it is, and have you seen Melania lately? She's gorgeous, trust me, Mexico paid for all of that. Now here's the deal, Convoy Tactics, and excuse the chicken over here trying to lay an egg, this is real life. Convoy Tactics are one of those things that everybody thinks to know about, most people are clueless on, and even the people that do know a thing or two about it, we can all continue to learn. Which is why we are having this conversation, especially from a preparedness standpoint. The vast majority of preppers are more or less clueless on this subject. It has been my finding. We just assume, hey, I'm gonna hop in my truck, you hop in your truck, and we'll just follow each other there. And then what? Well, I guess we'll just figure it out. Well, the time to figure it out is not, 3 a.m. in the pouring rain, or when bad guys are shooting at you, or when the wheel falls off of one of your vehicles. Or all three, or something else unforeseen, right? You need to have a plan before you go. And one of the blessings of doing these deployments is that we get to serve our Creator, we get to serve our fellow man, and then everything is training. Everything is training, including convoy tactics. So the first thing you need to do is keep your vehicles full and take as few VICs as possible, okay? And so part of that means that if you've got, we'll say you got 12 people, if you have the capacity and you can take 3 vehicles, 4 packs per Vic, do it. Well, we need this truck to haul this load. Okay, good. Then that's 4 vehicles, but don't take 6 vehicles, 2 each, if you can help it. Don't take 8 vehicles, 2 in this one, 1 in this one, blah, blah, blah. Just, do you know how difficult it is to coordinate the movement of that many vehicles in an urban environment? On the highway, maybe. In an urban environment, hit 1 stoplight and watch half your convoy disappear. Now you're potentially shutting down traffic just so that you can wait for the tail end of your convoy to catch up. So keep the vehicles full. Fill the VICs as much as possible. Have an advance vehicle, somebody who's half a mile to a mile ahead, who's reporting back. Hey, this is the condition up here. We got road work. The right lane is shut down. Hey, we were going to go to this neighborhood, but now we're not because there's a car on fire or whatever, right? Advance party, AP, advance vehicle. Somebody out there, eyes and ears up front, a driver, and somebody who's reporting back, the navigator / guy in the other seat. Now, part of that is commo. You need good commo, and everybody needs to be on the same frequency. So we, for our deployments, use the Baofeng UV5Rs for a couple of reasons. You can program every frequency under the sun into those things if you have a decent commo guy, and I'm blessed with 3 of them. Shout out to Brother J. John, shout out to Brother Gordon from the APN, and shout out to Ozark Geek. Love you guys, you're tremendous. So I've got 3 good commo guys that I know of, and there's probably some more of y'all lurking out there as well. So the Baofangs have got every frequency under the sun programmed into them, and they're cheap. $25 a radio, we're good to go. So if Susie drops one and it accidentally gets turned into a wheel chock, okay. If we started the mission with 12 and we finished the mission with 11, no big deal. Unlike these radios, my Kenwoods, which are $400 all said and told, the Baofangs, the way I set them up, are like $38 with a push-to-talk mic and the high-speed antenna and the extra battery and the blah, blah, it's $38, $25 for the base model. So we use the Baofangs to communicate, and every vehicle gets a radio so that we can talk. Now also, we need to keep the channels clear so that we can talk. If we're prattling on like a bunch of schoolgirls and the channels aren't clear, we can't convey necessary information as needed, right? Because the channel's not clear. So communicate swiftly, expediently, the bare minimum amount of information to get the point across, and then clear the channel, right? basic commo 101. Always assume that your transmissions are not secure because they're not, right? But you need commo. We also, as part of our SOP, I like every single vehicle 3/4 of a tank full or more, just cause. And every vehicle gets a first aid kit, a good one, a real one. And I typically bring first aid kits and radios to these deployments so that I know that we're covered, right? So that, it's one thing if, we need a Band-Aid. Yeah, we probably got that covered. But it's a whole nother thing if you've got a, sucking chest wound. How do we deal with that? Well, we have the kits with us, and we have been blessed thus far to have the expertise in the personnel that respond to these things as well, to deal with things like that. Yet another thing that we train. So the fewest possible VICs to accomplish the mission, have good commo, have a bump plan and a load plan. Getting back to SOPs for the vehicles, where is the radio? Where is the first aid kit? Where are the things that we're going to need? Where is your tow strap? Where is the chain? They should be standardized as much as possible across all vehicles. Okay, what's the bump plan? Well, one of the vehicles goes down. How are we going to move this equipment and this personnel from 4 vehicles down to 3, from 3 vehicles down to 2, so forth and so on? So you need to figure that out now. Again, now, not at 3 a.m. in the pouring rain, or not at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with bad guys shooting at you. Or you pull into what you think is an economically depressed but otherwise okay neighborhood and find out this is a hellhole, we need to not be here. Well, we got a flat tire. Cool, what are we doing about that? How do you post security around this convoy? Right? So, load plan, bump plan. What do we do when things get sideways? What do we do when we have a vehicle that has a malfunction or is critically disabled? We got to bail. Bail, 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 bail. Go, go, go. Now what? Okay. Well, the time to figure that out is before that happens, right? We're preppers, right? That's what we do. We war game problems. Good. War game this problem, come up with a solution before you deploy so that it's one less thing you got to think about. And then practice the plan, right? Practice the problem. Whatever the problem is, figure it out, practice it a couple of times. Who is the convoy leader? Who runs this dirty SOB? Who's in charge? Where is that person in the convoy? Are they second vehicle back? Are they second to last vehicle? Are they right in the middle? Are there any VIPs that we need to be taking care of? Are there any critical loads here that have to be protected at all costs? Where is the security? Is there a security person, at least one in each vehicle? What happens if we have to go into a neighborhood and things get sideways? Do we shut the roads down? Do we harden up, points out? How does all of that work? Who's responsible for what? What's your field of fire? Right? We don't want any blue on blue. We don't want any of that BS. So who's looking where with what? And who's in charge of all of them? Again, this comes back to practicing the problem and having good commo. Right? What do we do? And think about, for us, what are our SOPs? We're going into neighborhoods that aren't ours, loaded down literally with commodities that are in high demand. We've got food, we've got water, we've got sanitation supplies for people. I mean, we went to one neighborhood last time where they hadn't had a hot meal in 3.5 months. So yeah, preparedness, bro. It's not just because the Illuminati is going to cook your guts with 5G and put you in a Walmart FEMA camp. It could also be because of weather. Most likely weather, okay? One neighborhood, they hadn't had a hot meal in 3.5 months. Another house, our brother, the Patriot Plumber, serviced, they hadn't had running water in 5 months. So when you show up with food, hot meals, groceries, sanitation, water, we're the only ones with these in-demand commodities, right? And we're going out being the hands and feet of Messiah and servicing these neighborhoods to the best of our ability. But what happens if things get sideways? Do we instantly go to presenting weapons? What's our standoff capability? What's our SOPs? Where do we fall back to? How quickly can we get out of here? So forth, so on. Who's watching the roads? Who's on the combo? Hey man, we got a fast mover coming. It's a white Honda Civic, blah, 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 blah. Clear the road. Or shut it down. Or whatever, right? Like, who's doing that? It's a lot more than what you think that it is, and you learn it by doing it, okay? As we talked earlier, you know, having a scout vehicle or AP advance party to scout the areas that you're going into, your lead vehicle, right? And typically I would run that half a mile ahead, maybe a mile ahead. And with that, where do you put your best shooters? Are they in that lead vehicle? Are they not in that lead vehicle? Are they in the middle of the convoy, the back of the convoy? Again, what's the SOP here? So this is just one more thing, episode 2, lessons from a hurricane that we train on site when we do these disaster response missions. And so again, I would encourage you, if you're interested, go to bearindependent.com/missions. And there's a sign up form there if you want to come and train these things with us. And understand it's informal training. We're not sitting down in a classroom with a whiteboard. It's basically like, look, this is what we're about to do. This is how it's going to go. Does anybody here have Convoy Experience? Okay, cool. Who here doesn't? Okay, cool. This is how this is going to go. This is what we're doing. You know, switch your eyes and ears on. This is how it's going to go. And then we're going to go do it. And you're going to learn. We're all going to learn. We are all going to reinforce things that we already knew or build entirely new skill sets from the doing of, which is what I tell you guys constantly, go do. And this creates an opportunity to go do that serves your creator, serves your fellow man, and serves you, because you get to train with some extremely cream of the crop type people. And I'm not even going to include myself in that, because I am blown away by the quality of people who have responded to assist us in this disaster outreach. If you want to help support monetarily, if you can't come, Bear Independent, what is it? GoFundMe.com/Bear Nation, BEAR Nation, and GoFundMe.com/Gilbert's Op Fund. And I'll put links down there in the bottom. We need $25K to deploy to Nebraska. Yeah, is what it is. That's what it takes. It's $25K. We're trying to put that together right now, and then we're trying to raise $10K for the Bear Nation so we can get an enclosed trailer and fill it full of tools. So, and we can centrally locate that thing in the middle of the country so we can respond to anywhere, like tornadoes in Ohio, or flooding in Oklahoma, or fires in California, or flooding in Nebraska, or hurricanes in Florida, or hurricanes in Texas, or wherever, right? And that simplifies our logistics. So that's the deal there. Convoy Tactics. Don't assume that you know. None of us knows for sure, which is why you got to train. Shalom.